What is up, guys? Shady Wags here with Got Your Back Gaming, and today we're going to be looking at Ragnorium. Have you ever played a game that just totally consumes your time more than what it should? You roll out of bed around 11 o'clock, grab a bowl of Fruit Loops, and then make your way to your gaming chair. You flip on your PC or gaming console, you load up the game, and then the next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and you have to be to class or work at 6 o'clock. Well, that's been Ragnorium for me over the past couple weeks. I have been totally obsessed with this game. A couple things before we get into this game. First off, the graphics may be a little bit different than what you're normally used to. Give it a chance. With some of these indie games, appearances can be deceiving. And second thing, if cartoon nudity offends you, well, this may not be your thing because there is full frontal pixelated man wang. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at Ragnorium. So yeah, this game looks like total crap, and that is by design. The developer chose to make the game look like this by adding filters and effects to make the game look gritty. Now, luckily players said to him, hey, I like your game, but the graphic style is total crap. If you don't change it, I'm not going to play it. So he listened to the player base, and you now have the option to go into settings and turn off those filters that make the game look that way. So if you go into options, go to graphics expert mode and turn off those effects and then go back into the game. Well, in my opinion, it looks an awful lot like Borderlands. The graphics are still not great, but I can live with them like this. And I can vouch the more you play the game, you're going to discover how good the gameplay is and focus less on those graphics. The backstory here, Ragnorium is evidently some type of catastrophic event that has caused the Earth to be uninhabitable, but it doesn't go into any detail what that event was. You're located on a space station and have been tasked with the responsibility of creating human clones and then sending them to alien planets in a colonization effort. To start the game, you get to build your own launch shuttle. You choose what pieces you want to attach to the shuttle. You have choices like different clone pods, equipment, cargo, and different modifiers that give benefits to your clones. You decide what you want to attach, but you are limited by the amount of funds you have. As the game progresses and you launch additional shuttles, you'll be rewarded with more attachments, which will give you more choices in how you want those shuttles to be built. Next, you go to the cloning facility where you're going to decide what clones you want to replicate. Clones have different stats and abilities, and again, you're going to be initially limited by funds. As you progress, you're going to gain access to different clones with specialized augments that can benefit your colony. Finally, you load those clones into the pods and you launch the shuttle. As the ship travels over the planet, you choose where you want to launch the pods to, and that's going to be the location where you begin your colonization efforts. There are easy, normal, and hard locations, although almost the entire planet is hard difficulty. If you are able to find an easier normal location, well, it doesn't really matter because anywhere you land, it's extremely difficult. Once the pods are on the ground, then it's your job to begin instructing your naked clones what to do. Yeah, like I mentioned before, the clones start out fully naked. This guy must have been cloned with Ron Jeremy DNA. And this is Amy, and as you can see, Amy has a penis. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but yeah, some of the females have man giblets. If you do find a woman without a schlong, they're built like female bodybuilders and they pee standing up. So they probably have dicks too, but just really little ones. You instruct your clones what to do. You can have them cut trees, gather leaves, scavenge water, and build structures that you design. But the problem is, even though you have the ability to influence what you want them to do, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do it. Some of these clones have a mind of their own, and they're dumber than a bag of hammers. You may want them to work on building the base, but instead they want to go piss off the roof. Or you want them to go gather water, but instead they go and shit all over the supplies. And speaking of shit, that is another issue in the beginning of the game because these clones dump everywhere. And if you just leave that crap laying around, it mutates into a crap monster that will beat the total crap out of your clones. So you have a couple options in dealing with the turd situation. The first is to relocate the turds. That takes time, but they're still going to grow into a shit beast, sneak back into your base at night, and unload all over your colony. The other thing you could do is tell your clones to stomp on the turds. If they do that, well, it will kill the little poop baby, but your clones get crap all over their legs, and then they get mad because they're walking around smelling like poop. And you don't want your clones to be unhappy. They do have needs that you have to fill, like covering their wangs or putting shoes on their feet, providing food or water or weapons. If a clone's happiness gets to zero, then they'll end up having a mental breakdown and start attacking other clones. And that can turn real ugly because one clone attacks another, then that clone retaliates, then another one gets involved, and then Amy ends up dead. So to avoid situations like that, you need to keep increasing your research level. That's going to provide your colony with better technology like compost bins, workshop tables, better tools, better weapons, clothing, and armor. The list goes on and on. Now, in order to gain research levels, you need to complete quests. Some of them are as simple as collecting wood or building a certain item. Others, you need to form a scouting party to go out and investigate a location. And some of them are forming war parties to go attack groups of aliens. Now, if all that's not enough to deal with, there's also a story involved, as a religious group is hell-bent on destroying all clones, and they have tracked you to the planet, and they're coming after you. Now, the reasons I really enjoyed this game, one is because of the challenge. Ragnorium is difficult, and chances are you're not going to get very far in your first, second, or third gameplays. Things could seem to be going really well, then you make one bad choice, and before you know it, your entire colony is wiped out. I really appreciate a good challenge, and I like the fact that this just isn't a cakewalk. Surviving on an alien planet should be unforgiving, and that's the way the developer designed it. The second thing I really enjoyed was the base building. In a lot of these third-person overhead survival games, your base design is basically limited to prefab buildings, but in Ragnorium, you have full control of what you want to build. You're only limited by your imagination. Your base can be as large or as small as you like. It can be one floor, 2 stories, a tower, or even multiple buildings. You can designate different rooms as workshops, storage, or living quarters, which give added stats to your clones. There are also cosmetic items that you can collect and build, which not only make your base look good, but some of them give benefits to the colony. So the building is really involved, and I found myself spending hours just trying to get my base perfect. Another thing that's very interesting is the way the clones interact with each other. They have a communication system that is very reminiscent of The Sims. They'll give each other thumbs up and thumbs down. They'll talk about the weather and food, and over time they start forming relationships which affect your colony. Sometimes they'll help one another out. If one needs supplies, the other one will go get it. Or if someone is hurt, the other will react and heal the other. It's pretty cool to watch this all play out. And it's funny that I found myself rooting for some of these clones more than others. I started getting a little attached to some of them, and on a dangerous alien planet, well, that's probably not the smartest thing to do. This is Maple, and she'd been the leader of my colony since initial landing. She had survived countless battles and cheated death numerous times. She had a messed up arm and a jacked up leg from all the fighting, but she just kept going. Now this is Skipper. Skipper is definitely the worst clone in my colony. Despite there being tons of work to do, this dude is constantly just standing around, sleeping, talking to the other clones, and pissing off the roof. Many times I considered having the other clones kill Skippy and cannibalize him, but ultimately I decided to give him another chance, a chance to redeem himself. So Maple was leading a war party to go attack this alien with a giant water barrel on its back. Creature was a lot stronger than I expected. The party did win, but Maple ended up fatally wounded, laying on the ground bleeding out. She could still be saved. Somebody from the party just had to go back to the colony, get a surgery kit, and then make their way back to her and perform a life-saving operation. The party made their way back to the base, but no one would go get a kit. And I was freaking out, yelling, "Go save her!" Then finally a hero emerged, Skipper. I thought, this is Skipper's time to shine. This is his moment of redemption. Skipper raced across the desert only to get there with seconds to spare. I was relieved that Maple would live another day, but then Skipper just stood there, standing over her, staring at her. Then he decided to take a shit and leave. And Maple died out in the cold alien desert alone. I guess the moral of the story is Ragnorium is cruel and unpredictable. I really enjoyed playing this game. It is weird and quirky, but most of all, it's fun. Now, that's not without saying that Ragnorium is not perfect. There are some glitches and bugs. Content is a little lacking, but the developer has been constantly updating and improving the game, and that is really promising to see how much time he's dedicating to this. And what's really impressive about Ragnorium is that it is designed and developed by a one-man team. I can't even imagine the amount of time and effort that this guy has put into this already, so hats off to him. So if you really enjoy resource management survival games like Fallout Shelter or Surviving the Aftermath, I think you're going to really love this game. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button. Until next time, I will talk to you later. Have a good one.